Hi YouTube, this is Archangel Warrior Christine Pence coming at you again. I'm on here to make another video. My last video was of a couple ducks that I filmed yesterday. Thought it was something cute to upload. I'm on here again because I had to share another dream. I had one back to back, but I didn't have time to make a video. But I had dreams, like, this got to be like the third or fourth time I've had the dream of the double moons. And I had dream of the double moons the other night. And in the dream, I was being told that the two moons represent twins. And I know I've heard people talk a lot about that. About a year ago, everyone was having moon dreams but me. I guess Christine is catching up because now I'm having moon dreams. I'm having, this is my third or fourth moon dream. So anyway, I dreamt, I was in this immaculate house, like a mansion. Everything was immaculate. I mean, there were couches and rooms everywhere, like a mansion. And I kept hearing, this is Melissa's house. And I know someone named Melissa, and she's married with 2 kids. And in this dream, this was her mansion. Now, was this her mansion in heaven? I don't know. I saw her in the dream with her spouse and her kids, and there was very few people there, but there were some people. In the dream, I was walking around her place, and she was attending to other people. And I actually touched part of the pillow, and I do believe it was a very fancy fabric, almost gold, so it could be. And this had beautiful windows, and it overlooked in the back. It was dark with black jagged rocks with like a river or like a waterfall flowing through it. And in the back of it, there was that river with the jagged black rocks, and then there was a cliff. So I'm looking around her place. She's attending to other people. The next thing I know, it's like I was literally teleported outside in the dream. I'm at the edge of a cliff, and it's all black, dark, gloomy, dark clouds, everything. And then all of a sudden, the sky was clear. It's like one half was black, the other half was like blue sky. And then there was a moon. And then there was another moon. There was 2 moons. One of the moons, the one on the right, looked kind of splattered, like it was a fake moon or there's something wrong with it. It looked almost like a spotlight in the dream. But in the dream, the strong feeling I was getting was these were 2 moons, regardless of what was wrong with the one on the right side. The other one looked like a regular moon. They were, unlike in my past dream where they were far apart and big and smaller together and then separate, these were side by side. But they were 2 moons. But the one moon on the right, there was something wrong with it. And it looked almost splattered, like someone had painted it. And then the moons disappeared in a heartbeat. That in the dream, I kind of felt like it represented the rapture. How you're here, and in the blink of an eye, you're gone. The black jagged rocks in the river, I'm not really sure what the black jagged rocks meant behind the house. It could represent trouble. This river, or this waterfall type environment, there was a lot of water, and it wasn't flooding anything. It was just simply flowing through the rocks in the back of this house, in the back of this mansion. And I had a sub, we talked about it, and I asked my sub, it's like, hey, look up what the meaning of the name Melissa means. Looking up the name Melissa, it means bee, like honeybee, worker bee, you know, the bug, the insect bee. And then you look up the name bee, and it means joyous giver, joyous and loving giver, something along those lines. And I know this person, Melissa, and she's a very joyous, loving giver. She loves to help people, and she's always a very kind person. She actually has a bigger heart than I do when it comes to certain things. But I thought that may have been significant because the name Melissa means bee, and the name bee, B-E-E, means joyous giver, joyous loving giver. And my friend, she fits that profile perfectly. So anyway, was this her mansion in heaven that I saw? I don't know. There were immaculate couches all over the place. It looked like the kind of mansion that someone who has a lot of money in the elite system would have, not someone like us on the bottom ranks in this world. So this looked like a place that had a lot of money to it. But I'm not sure exactly why the home was by a cliff next to black jagged rocks. It could represent trouble. The waterfall, it wasn't changing. It was not really a river. It was like a river, but it was more like a waterfall, but it just kept going like a river, but it was more of a waterfall in the background, this huge waterfall. So it was a very interesting dream. And then I saw the 2 moons. But then I ended up back in her house again, and there were 2 twin boys with blonde hair, blue eyes, and white skin. They were sitting there dressed very nice, sitting side by side up against each other. I almost sensed in the dream that the 2 twins represented the 2 moons, and I kept feeling twins. It represents twins. And I kept saying, and I kept hearing a voice in the dream saying, these are Melissa's twins. And I'm like, okay, Melissa means B, and B means joyous giver. So, and my friend doesn't have twins, but, you know, it was a very interesting dream, and I do believe there's some significance to it, which is why I'm sharing it, especially since there were 2 moons in it. You know, the black jagged rocks and the waterfall river represents, you know, I felt it all represented something. The twin boys, the twin moons, and the mansion. Now, could this represent our mansions in heaven? I believe so. The river, the waterfall, could that be something heavenly? It could, or it could represent something else. It could be, for some reason, the word river of life, or from Christ in the book of Revelation, when it talks about how from the throne of God that a river comes out, water comes out, and it flows through the city in the heavenly city in the end of the Bible and book of Revelation. It reminded me of that. The black jagged rocks could represent the struggles or hardships we endure on our walk, especially TIs and saints in the Most High, because it is so hard to get to your goal when you've got basically gang stalkers or the devil himself or demons standing right in front of you and blocking your every move. So I know this dream may not make any sense, but I did remember it, and I did pray to the Lord that if I remembered it, I would share it. So I finally got a chance to make a video. I pray in Jesus Christ's name that this video uploads with no issue. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. God bless you all. Jesus bless. Yeshua bless. Love and light to all the saints and TIs in the community. And so I thought that was something really special to share. Also, the Lord has blessed me with some recent blessings. They've been very good. And I did share it with a lot of my blessings with one individual, and they definitely acknowledge it was from the Lord. So, but then something interesting happened yesterday. I had to go out and do some errands, and I went somewhere, and there was a stalker there. There was a man in a red shirt, blue pants, and he was looking right at me. There was a few others. They were just kind of staring at me, listening to every word I said, hanging on to every word. You know, I tried to ignore him. So I went and did my business, and then I left. And last night there was a lot of banging and pinging and all kinds of noise. It literally sounded like somebody was in my room. Could it have been an entity? Could it have been someone hiding, you know, using technology? Who knows? But it literally sounded like there was somebody by my bed. I kept getting a bad vibe. I was going to roll over and see some sort of entity. Didn't happen, praise God. But I kept feeling a very strong presence of entities or someone or something heavily with me in my room last night. That was not good. I knew Christ was there. I prayed to him. I ended up sleeping with my Bible, which was a big help. And till probably about 5 a.m., I was able to doze off because laying there, I was hearing noises outside. I heard people yelling outside on the other side of the fence. I heard it sounded like wires being pulled through the wall, all that nonsense noise campaign as they call it. And it kept me up till 5, but that's fine because I didn't have to jump up and run anywhere today, so I did get to sleep in the early hours. But I prefer to sleep normal hours like most people, like anyone else. But I figure, well, if they're trying to keep me awake, it doesn't matter. I could sleep most of the day. I don't have anything to do today. So anyway, I just stayed home, chilling with Jesus. But anyway, despite of them keeping me up till 5 a.m. last night, I got my business done, and I was followed around by gang stalkers all over, and the guy in the red shirt stood out, and Jubilina Redeem, her channel is really helping me because a lot of things she's saying happens to me too, and I know I haven't watched her channel a whole heck of a lot. There's a lot of y'all's channels I need to get caught up on. I just haven't felt up to it, or I haven't had the time to catch up on everyone's channels, and I apologize. The Lord has not drawn me to any particular channel, so I haven't really been watching everyone's channels like I should. I did check out one from Richie from Boston today, which was really good, about the cathedrals, and they talk about the iPet goat. And Naughty Beaver talked about it, and many others. The iPet goat we know is of the Antichrist. It's not of God. And the Christ-like figure in the cartoon of iPet goat is not the real Jesus. It's the Antichrist Jesus. And if you look at the way that they have him and the scenery around, you can tell that's not Christ. He has the Illuminati pyramid, the all-seeing eye on your forehead, on his forehead, red eyes, and his demeanor and behavior in the cartoon from clips that people have shown on their channels. I do not watch iPet Goat, never will, because it's very satanic. Avoid it at all costs, even your kids. Don't let your kids watch iPet Goat. iPet Goat. Monitor your cartoons and your shows for your kids. I know there's parents that do, but there's a lot of them that don't. Don't let your kids watch iPet Goat. It's just full of symbolism and satanic occultism to brainwash your kids. Don't let them watch it, please. Monitor your anime. Don't let them watch iPet Go. Any type of cartoons or shows. For parents out there who don't monitor their kids' shows, please do so, because there's a lot of satanic symbolism. Monitor your kids' music. Even you adults do the same thing, including me. There's a lot of music I used to listen to I no longer listen to anymore. I mainly just listen to a lot of either Christian music or music that's more towards the Bible, or just like a random song that's not in the satanic, and that's a good thing, because I used to actually be into heavy metal a long time ago, and I don't listen to heavy metal anymore, so praise God for that. I dated my ex when we were together. He was a huge fan of death metal, and we used to listen to that years ago, and I no longer listen to death metal or heavy metal. It's actually quite satanic in nature, especially death metal. So be careful, and I'm grateful to God that I don't even have an interest in listening to that kind of stuff anymore, so praise Jesus. Christ has changed me, where there's a lot of things I used to do and watch and listen to that I don't anymore, and praise the good Lord for that. All praises to the Most High. And my recovery's doing well, so just trying to get caught up on things. But anyway, this is something interesting I wanted to share. When I went out yesterday, went and did my errands, and there were gang stalkers galore. I could sense it before I went out. There was a helicopter circling my area before I left, and they're always unmarked helicopters. They never have where company they're from. It's always unmarked. Usually mine is the black and white sheriff's helicopter. This one looked like a red and white and blue medical copter, but it wasn't marked. There was no medical symbols or anything on it. It was totally blank. But anyway, go out, did my thing, and then came home, and then I left again to go do some stuff. And I went to a little grocery store to pick up a few items. And I'm going there, and I came up in the line, and normally I'm ignored, totally ignored in stores. I mean, unless like your gang stalkers follow you all over the place, but other than that, everyone else usually ignores me. So I'm sitting in the back of the line, and in my chair, and there's this young guy and this older man, and people were acting like they wanted to go in front of me. So I'm like, okay, I'm used to being in the back of the line anyway, so I'm telling them go ahead. And this has been happening more often with me, and I think Saints and TIs noticed this as well, because I've heard people in live chats mention this has happened to them. People around me are starting to notice me. They're starting to look at me like they see something about me. Like they're probably seeing the light in my heart that Christ is there. I don't know. It could be because a lot of people are voicing that's what they swear other people see, but they just stare at me. They're looking at me as if they could see right through me and they could see my light. And it's like that light is from Christ because he's in my heart. And I believe that's what they're looking at. Because normally, years ago, I was totally ignored. I'm just so used to being ignored, except by the stalkers who harass me and follow me around and try to scare me to death. But other than them, nobody else really talks to me that much or even deals with me. So to have all these people in the store in line, it's like they all just stopped. And they all just turned and looked at me. It was a group of them. And they just kind of looked at me. They didn't say anything. They just watched me. And they watched every move I made. And they were looking at me like they could see something. And I was thinking, they could see the light in my heart, can't they? They could see the light of Christ in me. So then the son walks up with his dad. He's putting his stuff on the checkout line. And the old man turns. He takes one look at me. I kid you not. And then he says that I need to go ahead of him, because I'm always letting people go ahead of me, and lately, for the past few months, and I feel like it's because they're aware of who we are, or people are starting to take notice of something, besides the gang stalkers, and people keep telling me to go into the front of the line, and I feel like, is this Christ reminding me that I'm a frontliner, and that I get to go first in the rapture, one of them, because he has revealed this to me many times. And lately, people have been making me go ahead of the line. It's like, I'm like, no, I'll sit in the middle, I'll sit in the back of the line, and everybody wants to usher me to the front of the line. So this old man, he says, give me your stuff. I want you to go ahead of me. I'm like, no, that's okay. You can go ahead, pay for your stuff. I'm next. He goes, no, you're ahead of me. You go in front. You're in front of all of us. So he took actually his stuff, pushed it all the way in the back, took all my stuff, put it on the counter, and I heard someone say, oh, that's so sweet. So I said, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So I go right in front to the checkout line, and they're all looking at me, this crowd of people. They're not saying anything to me, but I heard a woman say, oh, that's so sweet, and that's all she said. You know, didn't know who said it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead. I'll do my thing. So I said, well, they want me to go first. So I go the head of the line. I pay for my stuff. And the cashier didn't know what to think of it. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, she goes first. She's first. She's first. So then I go and I pay for my stuff and I left. And I kept thinking, is God trying to tell me, remind me? Because I know he told me this. Is he trying to remind me and say, Christine, you're going first in the first round? And I am. I am considered an Enoch Wonker on the Rapture Kitty channel, on the First Fruits, you know, in the 108 group. So I took that as a flirt, and I took that as a confirmation, because these people